Hi, Amoda.
Hi.
Uh, I'm curious to hear if you have a sense on where the appearance or the development of certain psychic abilities come into the awakening landscape. Um, I seem to see almost like two worlds, like worlds of spiritual teachers that will say, don't even pay attention to anything that shows up along the way and just focus on awakening ultimately. And then I noticed a lot of interest in the world, more and more so, into different like psychic abilities, remote viewing, telepathy, like different things like that. And so I find myself personally having a deeper seeking for for an awakening, but also interested in sort of a landscape around like what comes with greater levels of awareness.
In in the end, if freedom is what you seek, liberation of the ego identity and living from that freedom as that freedom, then all phenomenal displays of experience are simply phenomenal displays of experience. Whether they're interdimensional, whether they're psychic, whether they're, yeah, we can call them many things. We can be in touch with, we can see beyond time and space. We can, yeah, experiment with telepathy and all this. In the end, everything is a phenomenal display, an experiential wave in the ocean. If you are attached to those waves, those experiences, those states, then you will identify with those. And that's what we see a lot of in the so-called spiritual dimension of, the spiritual circles, where those the focus, the attention is on experiencing those states. Even a mystical state is just a state. Even a visionary state is just a state. That's one side of the coin, if you like, or the approach. On the other hand, if there is a genuine impulse to explore, then explore. Then explore. Why not? The mind has the capacity to explore many dimensions if it serves something more than just identity of self, specialness of self, because it's not awakening. It is an opening of the mind, if you like. Now, let me say this in awakening, and again, I cannot speak for somebody else because there's no formula, there's no set model. Although there is a generic, generalized truth to this. In true awakening, when it's fully embodied and lived and it's filtered into all aspects of the being, it, seeing into seeing into reality is natural. What does that mean? Is it telepathy? Well, not so much in the conventional sense. I'm not picking up your thoughts right now. I don't care about your thoughts anyway. But there's a natural affinity, there's a natural alignment. We also see into another. We see their where they're not, if they're coming from division, if they're coming from mind, if they're coming from heart, if they're coming from separation. So we start seeing into reality, whether that's an individual or the world, but we're not prying into thoughts. It's not supernatural, it's intuitive and it's clear vision. That's a little bit different to supernatural powers.
Mm.
They
Mm.
may arise, they may not.